We've all been there, right? You're trapped in a conversation with someone, and it feels like every single road leads back to them. Well, today, we're going to dig into some fantastic insights from Dr. Jorge Valenzuela to figure out exactly how to deal with those situations without losing our minds. So let's get right into it.
You know that feeling. It's that total exhaustion after you hang up the phone or walk away from someone. It's like you've just run an emotional marathon you didn't even sign up for. That's the drain we're talking about. The one that comes from somebody who just has a black belt in pulling the spotlight back onto themselves every single time.
So what's really going on in those moments? Well, Dr. Valenzuela has this great way of putting it. We're basically just handing over the remote control to our own emotions. We're letting their behavior call the shots on how we feel. So the very first step to getting that remote back is to understand what's actually driving them in the first place. To do that, we're going to use a really simple, but honestly super powerful framework. It's all about looking at their behavior through 3 different lenses. Because once you can see the why behind what they're doing, you're in a much better spot to manage the how you choose to react and protect your own energy.
Okay, so first up is human nature. Think of this as the basic operating system we're all born with. It's that raw programming, right? Our fundamental drive to survive, to connect, and just to get our needs met. It's the instinctual part of the whole equation.
Now, building right on top of that is the next layer, human psychology. This is where our personal story comes into play. It's all about our unique experiences, our childhood, the environment we grew up in, all the stuff that's conditioned us to think and act in our own specific ways. And finally, there's a third lens we have to be aware of, and it's a big one: dark psychology. Now, this isn't some formal academic thing, but it's a really useful label for the manipulative side of behavior. This is where you run into stuff like gaslighting, guilt tripping, the silent treatment, all those tactics designed specifically to control or take advantage of people.
So now that we have this framework, what do we usually do when we're faced with this kind of behavior? Well, most of us fall into 2 really common traps. And these are the strategies that kind of feel like the right thing to do, but they actually just drain our energy and make everything worse.
And this really breaks down why those common reactions backfire. So, on one hand, you can praise them. And of course, they absolutely love this. They feed on admiration. But the result for you? You end up feeling used, and you realize their approval only lasts as long as your compliments do. Or you can argue with them. But what they're looking for isn't a solution, it's a reaction. They want your frustration. So you walk away drained, and they actually get energized by the whole thing. It's a complete lose-lose for you.
This is just a perfect way to think about it. Arguing with them is a waste of time. Dr. Valenzuela's analogy is spot on. It's like playing Monopoly with someone who's just stealing from the bank when you're not looking. You can't win because they're not playing by the rules. They don't care about fairness or the truth. They're playing for dominance and for the charge they get out of riling you up.
Okay, so if praising them is a trap, and arguing with them is a trap, what on earth is left? Well, it turns out there is one single, really powerful move that lets you completely disengage from their game and get your peace back. And here it is. The winning move is to be brief, direct, and totally neutral. Think of these phrases as your polite shields. Simple things like, "Good morning," "Thank you," "Have a good day," and maybe the most powerful tool in your entire toolkit, "I gotta go." These are simple conversation enders that give them absolutely zero drama to latch onto. You're setting a boundary without any aggression.
And this is the most crucial part to remember. The point of all this is not to win, or to teach them a lesson, or to punish them. The goal is simply to preserve your own inner peace. It's a total shift in focus, away from trying to change them, and toward protecting yourself. Now, of course, not all self-centered behavior looks the same. To respond the right way, it really helps to know what you're up against. And this spectrum is a great way to figure out what kind of behavior you're dealing with so you can adjust your strategy.
Let's just walk through this real quick. On the low end, you've got basic selfishness, just putting yourself first. That can escalate to egocentrism, where someone literally can't see things from anyone else's point of view. Next up is egotism, which is that egocentrism plus an inflated sense of how important they are. From there, we get into more serious territory with narcissism. That's where you see that excessive self-love and, most importantly, a real lack of empathy. And then at the far end of the spectrum, you have antisocial personality disorder, which is a complete disregard for other people's rights with zero remorse.
So the key takeaway from this whole spectrum is empathy, or more accurately, the lack of it. The further you move up that scale, the less empathy you're going to find. And that tells you how to act. Look, you might be able to have a productive conversation with someone who's just being a little selfish, but with those behaviors higher up, your goal shouldn't be to fix them. It's to create distance and protect yourself.
Which brings us to what's really the most important point of this whole thing. All of these tools, these frameworks, they're not really about controlling other people. They're about empowering yourself.
And that's the ultimate takeaway right there. You cannot change other people. You just can't. But what you can do is master how you respond. You can learn to see their behavior for what it is without letting it hijack your emotions. The real win isn't changing them. It's mastering yourself and fiercely protecting your own peace.
And that brings us right back to where we started. It's a really powerful question to leave you with. Who's holding your remote control? As you go about your week, just notice, who or what are you allowing to decide how you feel? It's time to take it back.